Hey, so right now I'll be watching The Weakest Tamer Began a Journey to Pick Up Trash, episode 2. And I don't really have much to say before I get into the episode, so now to the episode. Oh, that poor mouse. Oh, survival, I guess. Oh god. But he looks so cute. Make him a part of your party. Oh, at least she's thanking him. Her past life is kind of funny. Okay. Dude, if she loses Sora, I feel like she's gonna have like a mental break. Poor Ivy. So I hope she never loses Sora. Oh, I love that. I remember, that's why I want to watch this series. Because I remember seeing an image of the Black Panther and I was like, oh, I gotta watch this. I love that animal. To La Toto Village. That's funny. When did she meet this fortune teller? How long did she know her for? Are you sure? Wait, Sora's gonna go away. I thought she said delicious for a second. I was like, don't eat, Sora. That's what makes it fun. Bugs? I hope it's not. Oh, why is it always ants also? Ants and spiders. He's so transparent. Oh, is he gonna evolve? Oh. You know, I kinda hope Sora stays cute and it doesn't turn to the trope where when he gets stronger, he turns into a human. I like Sora as he is right now, he's adorable. That's pretty helpful. What if Sora can hear you? What if that's one of Sora's abilities? Yeah, I was like, maybe he could've just kept the cut a little bit small and not gone rid of it completely so he would still have at least one potion. Maybe he's carrying them inside himself? He's so cute. Yeah, I see tracks. Oh, I forgot she was wanted for a second. I was like, oh my god, she's wanted. I forgot she's on the run. Yeah, that's extreme. Also, it's been about 3 years since she's been on the run, if I remember correctly, and they don't find out if they have any stars till they're like 5. Kinda reminds me of Flynn Rider. He was never happy with his wanted posters. Okay. Sora's like, really? Still take it down. You can just keep it in your bag. You're not to rip it up. They're not gonna question you going in alone. Oh. And how is that fair? Damn. Oh, she's probably reminded of her own family, probably wishing that her family was like that instead. Also, pretty cliche that the dad would have it, but also it'd be cliche if the mom would have it, so. Ooh. She has the rat meat. If it's still good and Sora hasn't eaten it. Is she gonna ask him? Or... Oh, she is trying to make herself seem like a guy. Also, she is perceived as a boy from everybody else. How did he know? Oh. You know, I know it's rat meat, but it's making me hungry for chicken. So she did all that and she didn't need any skills. That sounds good. A lot of rats though, or field mice. $1 million? She's like, oh, so there's more chances of getting field mice instead of the big game. And also, not everybody wants a huge piece of meat, so they just want like a small piece of meat, so to make a small meal with. You don't always want big pieces of meat. Having field mice meat could make it easier for you to make a smaller meal. Wow, she wants to spend all her money at once. Very me. Tit, girl, that's not $1 million. At least she's nice about it. Panda, so she's saying panda. Give Sora a piece. He's like, what? Oh, that's nice. She's giving Sora an entire half. It'd be funny if the red was too tough and then pop goes Sora. Yeah, I was like, I'm pretty sure they don't need that. I mean, maybe they could, but... And I'm glad how basically she can't understand Sora. She basically has like a pet with her. So it's like me with my dogs. Like, I don't understand them, but I can more or less guess what they want sometimes. Oh shit. Maybe those belong to somebody? I don't know. It seems a little bit suspicious that there's so many. Or maybe that's why. Also, why are there so many cards with stuff around? Or maybe they just threw them away because they don't work anymore. Or they're not as strong as before. Oh, he can carry the potion. I knew it. He would have to be able to do that, right? Or does he eat those? Oh. He's like, no. Okay, he takes care of the useless ones. No? Maybe that one's still effective enough? Maybe that's what he eats. Oh, the mark on his head. Damn, more than quite a few. Oh, nice. Oh, that's nice. Though I wonder, if they find out that Ivy's a starless, would they treat her differently? Because in actuality, without asking, nobody knows if you're starless, so... Nah, maybe he'll get washed away? Yeah. Yeah, the fact that she has to hide her true gender in order to be safe reminds me of the Korean drama series, The King's Affection. They're maybe not viable? Because there's still bounty for you, they're bound to find you. What if they find out that she's the one that's wanted and then they try to sell her and they try to collect the money? She could be recognized, I guess. But can't a person just look around? It's those guys. Ugh. Well, I mean, can anybody tell your true intentions here? Oh, that's nice of him. Although, yeah, I knew it would be dangerous for her to stay anywhere too long. Regardless of the fact that she's pretending to be a boy right now. Oh, that's nice of her. That is true also. Wow, these people are so nice. They're taking the bread at least. And yet they're still plagued with posters of your face in order to hunt you down. I mean, I kinda wish you could have said bye, but, you know, can't risk it either. What if they're also gonna go to the royal capital? Hmm? No? Oh, I thought he was saying no. Oh, then again, when he spreads out, that means no. Mm-hmm. Couldn't she also maybe dye her hair? So there's less of a chance of being spotted? What if she finds them there? But also, as of right now, they don't know she's Famicia. So the fact that she keeps acting super scared, although understandable, it would just make them look at her weird and be like, why are you acting this way? Then they might realize that she's the girl on the wanted poster. Oh no. How's that? Oh, it's one of the hunters. And the other guy. Okay, I was not expecting this today. It's probably affecting her. Maybe you can heal her? Don't think he's gonna eat you. Oh, okay, she really did think that. He's trying to heal you though. So in this episode, we see that she finally manages to get to a village. She's no longer in the forest anymore. And for the most part, it's nice. For however long she stayed there, whether it be a couple of days, maybe over a week, it was really nice. She found nice people. She saw, families being like actual families and not casting their kids aside. And for the most part, it was fine. But since she's being hunted currently, and she saw posters near the village, of course, eventually the posters would be put in the village itself. And the bounty hunters that are after her would eventually go to that village and try to see if maybe they could either find her there or find any clues or hints that maybe people have seen her there, so they can try to gain some intel and be able to capture her killer and get the money. Although now I think about it, the fact that she got about 250 doll, and she get quite a few pieces of meat, then $500 isn't a lot of money, regardless of the fact that just 500 isn't a lot of money. I guess bounty wise and just in general maybe. They really are offering a very low price for her. And yet those two guys are putting a lot of effort just to get her. This feels like a lot of extra effort to go get this starless child and possibly kill her, if not take her back alive to the village, and only get $500. And they're gonna split it evenly between the two of them. It's 250. They have a much better chance of just killing a bunch of field mice and then selling it to the butcher and both getting 500 from that. So I don't know why they're so pressed into trying to just get this $500 from the bounty. But then again, I guess money is money to them, so. And also, are they dead? Since they were in that tree, and that tree was like poisonous or whatever, are they dead or just knocked out? It also sucks that she wasn't able to stay in the village for too long, although granted, it was kind of obvious that she wouldn't be able to. And the fact that she's being hunted down and she can't really stay long in any place due to the fact that there's a danger that she might be found out reminds me of Aang's situation in Avatar The Last Airbender, where he can only stay in one place for maximum maybe 2-3 days at most. And minimum would be just a couple of hours, but even then, that would be enough in order for other people to know that he was there. So he would constantly have to be on the move, because if he stayed anywhere longer than necessary, or longer than he had to, he would be found out. And not only would he and his friends be in danger, but the place where he's at would also be in danger. Because they're trying to capture him, they don't care what kind of casualties or damage they leave behind. Those guys that are after him are going to go after him, and they're going to destroy whatever they deem necessary in order to get to him. It was nice though that she was able to see that not everybody's mean. Although granted, they didn't know she was a starless and that she was also wanted. But also, the fact that they never asked, and it doesn't necessarily seem to be a huge thing, because if not, they would ask, no? Like maybe there would be some stores or some places you can only get things if you're a certain star level. Like if you're 3 stars, you can go in this store, but if you're 2 stars and below, you can't. And the fact that she's starless, and yet it doesn't deter her from going into any of these places, or at the very least buying meat and bread, I'm wondering why exactly is there such an importance on whether or not you have a star or not. Because clearly, the place that she has been so far, at the very least this village, is fine. Nothing's happened. I don't necessarily see how she's a bad omen. And also the fact that she's already left the village. I know I've said this before, but the fact that she's already left the village, and yet they still feel a need to try and kill her afterwards, it's like she's left her village. If anything, you trying to kill her, and if she manages to survive however many years this keeps going on, she could very well come back and burn your village to the ground. So, why keep antagonizing the one starless? And also, if you deem her to both be a bad omen, and maybe either somebody to not really deem as a threat, or somebody that could be a threat because she's a starless, and then you're really just shooting yourself in the foot, because if you're gonna keep going after her, then she would have much more reason to go back to your village and try to take revenge if you cause any harm to her, or anybody that she happens to be along the way. It's like, there's no point. You're wasting money and you're just wasting energy and trying to get this girl back when you kicked her out in the first place. And also the fact that I'm assuming she's been out here for about 3 years, if not less, probably. And then the fact that they believe that she has somehow managed to survive, that the creatures of the forest haven't eaten her yet, or a tree hasn't eaten her yet. So I'm so surprised that they actually still think that she could be alive. Although I'm glad that they're not, in this sense, underestimating her. Because if they also try to underestimate her and believe, oh, she's dead, she wouldn't make it, and it turns out she was, I'd be like, well, you shouldn't have underestimated her, you should have maybe given her some credit. So to their own credit, they are giving her some credit. Also, I really can't wait until she meets that cat creature. I really hope that he becomes part of her team, because I really like his design, and I just want to see more of him. And I was correct into assuming that when she's out of a village in the forest just with Sora, she acts how she normally acts, like a girl. But when she enters a village, she acts like a boy. So I was like, oh, I was right. Because there's really no point in her acting like a guy when there's nobody else around. It's only important for her to do that when she's in a village or when she's around other people, that she should act like a guy in order for them to not see her as a girl, and then maybe look at her more closely and be like, hey, you know, you look similar to the girl on the wanted poster. So she is smart in this sense, but also some could argue that she should act like a guy regardless if she's around people or not, because you never know who she might come across. But still, I can see why she wouldn't waste her energy trying to act like a guy when it's seemingly just her and Sora and nobody else around, versus when she really has to when she's in a village or around other people. Also, there does seem to be a kind of a recurring theme that because you're different, your parents have raised you for however many years, they very easily cast you aside. We know, and we're gonna see it in this anime series with Ivy's parents. I've seen it also in the Korean drama series The King's Affection, that due to the fact that the main female character was the twin sister of the crown prince, she was deemed a liability and she was said to be killed because 1, she was a girl, and 2, she dared to be a twin who shared a womb with her brother, and therefore in the current king's mind, making the newborn crown prince seemingly unfit to rule Korea one day in the eyes of the other nobles. So for that reason, they want her dead. So they didn't care at all that she was family or anything, they just wanted to cast her aside and have her killed. In the manga anime series, Miss Kotora-san, when Kotora ended up getting these powers to read minds, her mother, although she did try, at some point, since she couldn't figure out why her daughter could read minds and she was losing her own mind as a result of it, she ended up casting her own daughter aside and just not caring about her at all. Although I will give her some credit, she left her to her father to be taken care of, which is Kotora's grandfather. Although a very strange man, she still left her daughter with her rich grandfather to be taken care of, so she wasn't left on her own. But another example closer to Ivy's would be Claude from the light novel manga and anime series, Anila and Nessa Taming the Final Boss. Since in that series, Claude is known as the crown prince for a very long time, but when his parents find out that he isn't in fact completely human, he's in fact a demon, all the love and care they had for him just went away. And once everybody else in the castle found out he wasn't a human, his parents cast him aside and they exiled him, and they essentially left him to just fend for himself, not caring if he lived or died. So this is a very common theme in a lot of these animes, that when you don't fit the standard, which is in this one Starless, and in the other animated series it would be not being a human, being demon, any perceived love your parents had for you is gone, and they cast you aside as if you're nothing. Which is crazy to me because you raised this kid for however many years, and yet just as easily you're gonna be able to cast him aside. Like, that's wild. And one more example of this that I just remembered right now is from the manga and anime series, and I think you all know which one I mean, Sacrificial Princess and the King of Beasts. Since a similar thing happened with Sarafi, she was raised for over approximately 15 years by her adoptive family, and all these years her adopted parents still didn't care enough about her, because when the time came they still found it easy to just give her up to be eaten by the Beast King. And we never saw how they acted afterwards, but I'm assuming they never once cared about the fact that they literally gave up one of their own daughters. Even though they didn't see her as their own daughter, they still raised her for over 15 years, and yet they still found it super easy to just cast her aside. So that's just crazy to me. Now, one example that does the opposite would be from the anime series Air. Now, this is a very old anime series, I know, but in this animated series, from what I remember, since it's been a long time since I've seen it, it deals with this woman who has a brother, and for whatever reason, her brother can't take care of his daughter anymore. So he leaves his daughter in the hands of his sister, and from the looks of it, he's never gonna come back. But there's a chance that he might. So this girl's aunt goes into raising her from a young age to being a teenager with the idea in mind that she shouldn't get close to her because at any given moment, her brother could come back and take his daughter back from her. So she really did not want to form any close attachment to her, so she tried to keep a lot of distance between her and her niece. But ultimately, when the time came that her brother finally came back for his daughter years later, she refused to let her go. She was like, no, she's my daughter. I've raised her. You can't take her away from me. Even though her brother was like, no, she's my daughter, and I've come back for her finally. She's like, no, you're not the one who's raised her. I've raised her. I've gone close to her. I know her better than you do. And he kept playing the card where he's the biological father. He should have her back. But then she's like, no, you weren't here for her all these years. I'm the one who was here. You weren't. And the only thing that didn't help was the fact that during this time when he came back, his daughter had amnesia, so she didn't remember what her aunt did for her all these years. All she remembered was that she has a dad, and this is her aunt, but that's it. And she seemingly did want to go with her own dad, at least from what I remember. But in the end, she finally remembered that her aunt is the one who's been raising her all these years, and she called her mom, and finally, after seeing them tearfully embrace, did her biological dad finally just let them be and left, finally knowing that he really had no place in his daughter's life after he's been gone for so long. And to the aunt's credit, she went to the main family and begged them to let her keep Misuzu. And while this is the second episode, and according to my friend Dragon Slayer, I believe either in the next episode or episode 4 is when I'm finally gonna see the scene that he showed me. So, interested to see that. And now that I've said all that, I can't wait to see what happens in the next episode.